I plan and bring together all of the elements of what needs to happen for in-game animations. It's really all about going and working with the guys and making sure that they have what they need and that they're on the right track.
Pretty much everybody in the animation team except for me is new, so with that you get a lot of fresh ideas. One of the things she does is when she's dealt enough damage to you, she can come off the pillars and just charge at you. And the idea behind this one was to have her, because she's so thick and bulky compared to the other Medusas, I figured I'd make her move more like an alligator. I figured that would be the most threatening creature that would come to mind. It also gives her a lot of character. A lot of people like when they see her get down like that and come at you, it's like, whoa, she's scary.
When they do it, you want them to be like, oh my God, you know, like that's the payoff for it all. The one that's always in the press, actually, is the Cyclops eye rip. This is what's in the game now. Hopefully it doesn't change before the end of the game. People love this move just because of the eye ripping part. It was that moment that people react to. I feel it. Sometimes I use video, like, I guess. This is embarrassing, but yeah, that's me. Sometimes you just gotta feel it out and get the motion, especially with stumbling and things that have more acting to them.
My favorite sequence is probably the Theseus one. During that sequence, Kratos throws his blade into Theseus, who's hanging off the ledge at this point. He pulls him down, and as he's coming down, he punches Theseus into the door, grabs Theseus' weapon, and then stabs him against the door. Then he grabs the key for the door from Theseus, and he puts the key into the lock. When the lock opens, Theseus slips to the floor, and then he makes one last effort to grab Kratos. And Kratos pulls away and stomps his head in between the door. And at this point in the game, you can mash the door into Theseus' head. So when it finally gets into the game, into like the final form, it's a relief because it's like, now I've finally finished, you know, and I can move on to the next thing.
Feel like I'm a little bit twisted. Yeah. Coming up with different ideas, how to kill. How many ways can you kill someone? Originally, he was going to break his neck. I have an animation here. We had him jumping up on him and breaking his neck, and it just wasn't reading properly. Just didn't feel right, like Kratos. It wasn't brutal enough. So it was changed to this one.
Being new here, this was my very first full character that I got to do. He's seen around the world, and you fight him in a lot of battles. Sometimes you find multiple ones, which is really tough. This is just the actual CS move where Kratos grabs the Minotaur's weapon and actually uses it against him to impale him and kill him. What we were working on was trying to make the Minotaur react like he would, like a beast or creature would. You know, anytime he gets hit, he's growling back at you and he's reacting to what Kratos is doing. The other challenge is in the middle of this anim, there's a struggle minigame where it stops and the player has to mash on the button to impale him. And that's actually pretty difficult. You know, it seems like it's just a two-pose off thing, but I spent a lot of time trying to make sure that when he's pulling, you know, the strength of Kratos feels good, you know, the character responding and trying to pull back feels correct. And we're still working on it. It's not completely final yet, but a couple more passes and I think we'll be there.
The windmill magic is one of the new magics for this game. If I was to compare it to one of the magics in the first game, I guess it would be more like the Zeus lightning bolt, which allowed the player to reach enemies that were out of range. This is an example of one of the special moves that he can do with the bow. As you can see here, the bow seems kind of thick. Since it's made out of wind, the artists have actually created the animation within the bow. There's some textures here that actually animate and flow. Then once this gets into the game, you don't actually see the thickness. You only see this kind of translucent wind and air flowing through. So it's a really cool idea that the concept artist came up with. And the only solid part on the wind bow is this face right here. One of the special moves that are done with the wind bow, as you can see here, Kratos is just madly shooting arrows all over the ground in a circle, and it creates this huge tornado, which is quite cool in the game. You can definitely damage a lot of enemies. We try to, make him vicious, make every move that he does fit his character, his brutality. That's definitely what we try to go for. But without trying to, hopefully people won't think that we're crazy.